Hey guys, I'm Smith from Backbench Coder. So in the last video we have created our last component, the projects component, right? And with that we have almost completed our project, and in this video we'll be adding some animation in our portfolio. And for that we'll be using Framer Motion, a beautiful third-party library to add animation in React app. So before we go to Framer Motion docs, let's understand what we are going to animate. If we go to the deployed version, and now if we refresh the page, look at this navbar and side component. This navbar is sliding down and this side component is sliding left, right? And now if I click on these projects, look at this, how this is fading out and this then fading in, right? And then we click resume, look at this. This is a slide animation and it looks nice. Now if you move to our current app, and now if you refresh this, there is no animation first of all, and then if you click on resume, it just instantly pop in. The new component just instantly pop in. Look at this. And but the deployed version, this is much more clean. Look at this is cool. Wow. Okay, so let's go to Framer Motion API. If you go through the documentation, you can see how simple the syntax is. You can build a lot of creative animated project with such a small block of code. Like look at this 4 lines of code is just animating your unordered list. Okay, so to use Framer Motion, you first need to install the Framer Motion from npm. So go to your cmd. I am using VS Code, so I have my inbuilt cmd. Ctrl J. Okay, this is just check if you are in the right directory. So dir, if you see the package.json file, it means you are okay. And then just install npm I Framer Motion. Okay, let it install. Okay, so installed successfully. Fine. Okay, so now we'll first animate the navbar. So go to navbar component. Cool. Now to animate any element using Framer Motion, the first step is to convert the element into a motion element. And what I mean by motion element, let's see. So first import motion from Framer Motion. Motion from Framer Motion. Cool. And now go to the element you want to animate. In this case, this is my navbar, and just put motion dot, motion motion dot, and the close tag also with motion dot div. Cool. So what I did, I first imported motion from Framer Motion, and to animate the navbar, I mean I want to animate this element, right? So I am converting this div, this element, into a motion div. So what I did, I just put motion dot and motion dot in opening and closing tag. That's all. My element is converted into motion div. And now with motion dot div, it can now accept some properties. First one is variants, and here you will put an object where all the details of the animation will be stored. And don't panic, we will see this in action in a second. And then there is a property which is initial, which will hold our initial stage of the animation. And then there is a property which is animate, which will basically the end of the animation. Cool. Okay, so now this object right here, we need to create this object. I mean we need to create the details of the animation. So for that I will create an object which will, let's say, const, give it a relatable name which is navbar variant. Okay, and here I will define two values, which will be our initial stage and our visible stage. So let's say hidden, and another value which is, let's say, visible. So at the hidden stage, or say initial stage, I want my component to be out of the DOM. So let's say y minus 30 vertical height, and when in visible stage I want my y to again be 0. I can also add some more properties like opacity. When this is in initial stage, let's say 0, and now when this is in visible stage, I want my opacity to be 1. Okay, cool. And now put this navbar variant object inside variants. Okay, and for the initial property, the name of the object, which is in this case hidden, and then for animate, this is my visible stage, right? So this is visible. That's all, we are set. So what I did, I first converted my div into motion div using motion.div, and then with that I can pass three properties, which is variants, initial and animate, right? And for the variants I've created all the details. This is an object and this is named navbar variant. I pass the navbar variant. And for the initial and animate, this would be a string and this is the name of the embedded object. Okay, so for the hidden, it will search in the navbar variant if there is anything called hidden, and there is the hidden, it will assign all these values for the initial property. And for the visible, it will check in the navbar variant, is there anything called visible? Yes, this is visible, so it will assign all these values to the animate property. That's all. Okay, so if we go to our project and just refresh it, look at this, how this is sliding down. Once you are used to with this syntax, this is damn easy, guys. Now we'll animate the sidebar. Okay, so go to the sidebar component, this one. Again the steps are same. I need to convert this div into a motion div. So first import motion from framer motion. Let's convert this div into motion div. So motion.div, not mosio, it's motion.div, and go to your okay, my auto rename tag did it. Okay, so first step done. Now let's create the animation object, which is, let's say, const, what will be the name, sidebar variant. Cool. Now, so what I want it from sliding left to right. So first I need to change the position of x-axis. So create initial, it's an object, change the x-axis, and for the visible property, make it again 0, which is x is equal to 0. That's all. Give it a comma. Cool. And also add opacity so that it looks cool. Opacity, let's say first 0, and then when it is in visible stage, let's make it opacity to 1. Give it a comma. Cool. Now just pass these props here, which is, first of all, this is variants, and pass the variants name, which is sidebar variants. Once you are familiar with the syntax, that is damn easy. And then the initial property, which is initial, and this is a string and this should be initial. And look at this, guys, you can pass anything, any name here, but it should match with what you want. Because in the navbar, look at this, my initial stage name was hidden and I passed the hidden. So just to make this consistent, let's name it hidden, and I'll pass the name hidden. And then this is my animate, stage, and what I want it to be visible. This is the name, same as visible. Cool. Now look at this. If I refresh, yeah, this is fine. Now you can see a slight performance issue here. Look at this, and we can solve it using transition. So we can also add transition here. So go to your visible property and put a transition object, transition. And what I like about framer motion, that the property names are quite similar to CSS keyframe. So again you can use delay here, which is, let's say, for 0.2 second, and then you can use something called duration, which is again, let's say, 0.7 second. And then you can put an extra property offered by framer motion, which is the type of animation, the type of transition you want. So in this case I want type spring. You can check out the documentation, and there are 5 or 6 types of animation, and just experiment with it. And just add this transition in the navbar too. So go to the navbar, go to your visible property, comma. Cool. Now if you see the page, look at this, refresh. Okay, so there are still some issues here. So just change the x is 10 vertical width. I don't want the opacity, and I don't want the opacity here too. And now if I just make the delay 0.1, transition 0.7 to, I think it's, and then the x to from 10 to 20, minus 20. So now look at this. If I refresh, this is cool, it's much better. Well, now let's design this major components, which is projects, then about, and then resume, this one. Okay, so let's do the same thing. Go to projects component. So at this moment you are familiar with the steps, right? So just import the motion from framework motion, convert the div into motion div, motion.div, and here closing tag motion.div. Cool. Now let's design the project variant, which is, let's say, const project variant. Just check out the documentation, guys. It is beautifully documented and you will find a lots of tutorial there. And go to project component. Let's define the steps, which is pretty much similar like this. Copy this object from here. Cool. Okay, paste it. Now I want at hidden stage, what I want only opacity to be 0, and on the visible state opacity to be 1, and the transition, anything I want to change, let's say 0, delay 0.2, transition 0.6, and there is no type effect. Cool. And then just pass this value to the motion component, which is, first one is variant, and for this it will be projects variant. Nice. And then initial, which is hidden, and then animate, which is visible, right? Cool. So let's see. If I go to the projects component, and then yeah, it's, wow, hey, what the heck is happening here? It's initial, hidden. Seems like everything is right, but why it's not doing any animation? If I refresh, slightly lagging, but if I again, yeah, it's animating. Yeah, let's add the same properties for the other two components. Let's add the same animation. So I will copy just this one, project variants, to resume component and about component. So this about component, just paste it here, change the name to about variants. You can also keep project variant just to make it more readable. Then convert the div to motion div, which is motion.div, and then in the closing tag it's motion.div. Okay, now import the motion from framework motion. Cool. And then my editor is lagging, by the way. Then add the properties, which is same as this one. Go to about, just paste it here, and then change the variance name to about variance. Yes, everything is set, and just do the same for resume component. So go to resume component, close this, over here, just define the variance, and then just add the properties. That's all. Cool. And convert the div into motion div, convert the closing tag motion div. Cool. And just import the motion from framework motion. By the way, guys, I will shift these languages and tools, the array of objects, in a separate file. So import motion from framework motion. Everything is set. Okay, just need to change the variants to resume variant, which is resume variant here, and then resume variant here. Okay, so cool. Let's see. If I now refresh this, okay, if I go to about, yeah, this is animating. Look at this. And there is some problem regarding the component height, because if you now go to about, it has a less height, and if you go to projects, it has a bit more height. So you can fix that. Go to CSS file, I guess I need to reduce the height of projects component. So go to projects component. Okay, I'm here, and from 72 to make it 0, I mean 70 viewport height. And now if I go to about, it's cool. Look at this, the height is fixed, so nice. Well, now when a new component is entering our DOM, I mean when the new component is mounted to our DOM, and there is animation, right? But there is no animation when the component is exiting, I mean when the component is unmounting from the DOM. So I would like to fix that, because now if you see the deployed version of our project, you can see when I am unmounting a component from our DOM, let's say I'm unmounting this about component and mounting this projects component. Look at this about component is fading out, and then projects component is fading in. This is a cool animation, and I want to implement this right now. Now in our app, look at this, our component is just instantly popping out from the DOM. So to fix that, React Framework Motion offers a new component which is called Animate Presence. So if you go to a React Motion API and then go to Animate Presence, so it says that Animate Presence is used when components are removed from the tree. And if you see the syntax, it says you need a property which is exit property, and then you need to wrap the component on which you need to perform the exit animation inside Animated Presence component. So for that, go to our root component, which is our app component basically. So we need to wrap the switch component with animate presence, because the switch component is responsible for entering and exiting our React component from the DOM. So just import animate presence from Framework Motion, import animate presence from Framework Motion, which is Framework Motion, and the component name animate presence. Cool. And now wrap the switch component. Which one? Yeah, this one. So wrap it under animate presence. Cool. And just add this here. Okay, fine. But this alone would not be enough, because whenever I am changing this component, our route also changes, or rather say whenever I am changing the route, our new component is arriving. So animate presence does not know when the route changes. So it does not know when to fire any kind of exit animation. And for that, what we can do, we will use a use location hook. So just import use location. Anyway, my auto import will do this. So const location is equal to use location, auto imported, I guess, yeah, use location from React router DOM. Cool. And then just pass this location to the switch component. Location, and I will also send a key which is location.key. That's all. Now one important note, guys, we can't use this use location hook where we defined our actual router. So this router right here, we need to shift this router from app to index.js. So just remove the router from here, I don't know why this problem is, but React says you can't do this. So just remove this browser router as router, we don't need this, and go to index.js, which is this one, and now wrap this app inside browser router. So import router, my auto import will do this. Cool. And then wrap it. Cool. Okay, let's see. What happened? Cannot read property location of undefined. Oh, browser router as router. This is cool, sir. Okay, cool. With that done for the setup, and then if we go to the Framework Motion API, we can see this. We also need to pass a property which is exit. So just go to our component, which is, let's say for the projects component, I will add an property which is exit. So exit, the same way, let's first define it in variant, which is, let's say what I want opacity to be 0, and then a bit transition effect what I want a is property, which is, let's say, is in out. You can experiment with the is function. I prefer this is in out, and then pass this property, which is exit, and the name of exit, and the name is exit. So yeah, and then I will add the exit for other two components, which is, let's say, copy this for resume component and about component. So I'll go to about, I'll just paste it here and pass the exit property, which is same as exit cool, and then copy to resume component and just paste it here, which is animate visible, yeah, exit. Okay, done. So when our component will be unmounted from the DOM, this exit animation will be fired. So again, what I want opacity to be 0 and a transition function, which is in out. You can experiment with is in, is out. There are a lot of there. So let's go to our app and then just refresh it. By the way, guys, there are still a little performance issue for the sidebar. You can see, and I need to refract this and find a good transition function. By the way, now if you go to resume, look at this. Okay, if I go to projects, now look at this. This is doing the animation, but there is still a problem, because what it is doing, see this resume component, it is mounted to our DOM before the previous component unmounted. So if I go to about component, look at this. For a little millisecond, you can see the performance issue. So we can fix that. If you go to animate presence component, and there you can pass a property which is exit before enter. So it will unmount the last component before mount a new component into a DOM. So now if you go to the app, now if you go to about, look at this. This is cool. Yeah. So that's the bit magic you can do with Framer Motion, and I can't cover all the functionality of Framer Motion, but definitely check it out. It's amazing, guys. And that's all for this video. You will find the code in the description box if anything goes wrong. And in the next video, I'll be deploying our portfolio, guys. But before that, I need to review our project and need to do a little changes to improve our UI UX, and then just improve our project structure. If you like this video, please hit the like button, cause that's all for me. It motivates me a lot. Thank you.